Time for a Turos tangent. In 1944, Finland had the misfortune of being allied with Nazi Germany. And more unfortunately, they were adjacent to Russia. And there's one place you don't want to be, is standing in the way of a communist getting to a Nazi. Especially if you're flying their team colors. The Finns sent out a ski patrol in Lapland to scout things out. With them, a young man named Pervitin. While breaking for tea, they came under attack by the Soviets' ski patrol. And if I know my movie tropes, which I do, ski turf wars are no joke. Not wanting that smoke, Imo and his fellow Finns fled, dropping mines behind them to dissuade pursuit. But communists are excellent at dodging bananas in Mario Kart, so this sadly did not work. This chase was understandably exhausting, but Nazi war supplies will save the day with the power of Pervitin. Essentially, chaotic evil Mentos. Think of it as meth, because it was methamphetamine. And similar to Mentos, ingesting it makes you capable of incredible feats, up until your heart explodes. Also like Mentos. Yeah, straight-edge Imo was trusted with the squad's entire stash of Pervitin, because he was very much against taking drugs. But when you got a platoon of commie ski jocks bearing down on you while you're tearing up that fresh powder, personal values go out the window. Also, you don't really have the time nor dexterity to daintily grab a single pill. So he downed the entire bottle of 30. Enough supply for an entire patrol for a week at a pill a day. He, of course, got a massive energy boost and was able to pull away from the Soviets, as well as his own squad. The latter of which he noticed after he ceased blacking out while still cranked out of his mind. But, you know what they say, any battle you can ski away from completely messed up to your eyebrows is a battle you can Anyway, in between the blackouts and hallucinogenic Wolverine attacks, he found a camp and presumed it was the German army, and merrily skied toward them. It was not. It was the same Red Army he had been fleeing from this entire time. I wager even the hardy Russian army was not prepared for a crazed, horrified, screaming Finn to zip through their camp hollering about magic wolverines that could turn into trees. But they snapped out of it, and the wildest rendition of Yakety Sax began to play once more. And yes, even hours into this new chase, Imo was still geared up on Scooby snacks. Thankfully God, but let's face it, probably Odin, must have been impressed with Imo, and not wanting the show to end, sent a snowstorm his way, allowing Koivunen to escape the Reds once more. These antics continued, with him going to sleep in an abandoned cabin he set fire to in order to stay warm, waking only to scooch away from the licking flames up until the entire place came down upon him, which merely succeeded in rudely waking him up, so he crawled out from the rubble to sleep in the cabin's sauna, which he also set on fire. After this cozy sleep, he resumed his skiing, but with all the smoke inhalation, meth, and the head injury from falling off a cliff earlier in the day, our boy Imo was getting a bit confused and tried skiing into the skies to follow the North Star, thinking it was another cabin he could probably burn down and enjoy another siesta in, I'm wagering. After this failed, because of course it did, he stumbled across the German camp. He was saved. Or he would have been, but they abandoned the camp, it seems. Also, they booby-trapped it, which he discovered via stepping on a landmine. Thankfully, his buzz wasn't located where his right foot used to be, but less thankfully, his common sense must have been, because he dragged himself to the nearest cabin and opened the door, triggering another trap, and avenging its cabin brethren. He regained consciousness later, in a 3-foot deep hole holding a smoldering ski pole and a door handle, naked and too injured to walk. He was able to start a small fire with the remains of the door and boil some snow to drink. But things weren't looking good for our hero? Question mark? Eventually, another long-range Finnish patrol came across him. He was saved. Or would have been had one not also stepped on a landmine dissuading rescue. I mean, it was either that or the fact they came across a bloody nude man in a hole eating a bird alive. But I like to think the Finns are made of hardier stuff, and it was more the landmine thing. They left Imo to the hands of fate for days, but eventually rescue arrived with sappers to clear the mines. He weighed less than 100 pounds and his heart was beating at 200 beats per minute. Against everything, Koivunen survived. 30 years later, he submitted a short memoir to a local magazine looking for old soldier stories. He took second place. What the fuck beat that story? Tangent over. Like, comment, and subscribe.